let's see. I will say so. Tyler Creator has officially released one, two, three, four, five albums, and I'm gonna rank them real quick. Top five, fifth, um, Cherry Bomb. I don't know what it was about Cherry Bomb. It was very underwhelming just in his whole career. I don't know what he was trying to do really. I think it was just more of the same, and I think people get kind of tired of artists doing the same thing, which is perfectly fine. But sometimes artists need to kind of experiment and go out there a little bit more. Um, Man, I mean, I don't even have a favorite track. It was that bad. I mean, if anything, Death Camp. Um, if anything, yeah, it was a very. I remember when it came out too, and I was like, I mean, I listened to it and I was like, I don't really care for this at all. It was a weird situation. Weird. Um, Man, let's taste it. I will say, let's see. Um, okay, number four, Wolf. Um, this was his sophomore album after Goblin. I loved Dumbo 23. I loved IFHY. I love Trash Rain. I love Trash Rain. I still bump it to this day. Um, yeah, that was a very solid. It was okay sophomore album. But his top three above everything else. Number three, Goblin. Um, I remember when this album came out back in early high school, late junior high. It was like this rapper is like I loved it just because of how crazy and weird and just scary and horrific it was. I love horror movies. I love that scary vibe. Like this man is the eighth. I mean, I was like 13 years old listening to this guy. He's like, oh, I stab people and kill people. It's just like it was very vulgar, and we all knew it wasn't like super real. It was just like he was painting a picture and just telling his thoughts and just being very blunt about a lot of things. You got Goblin, you got Yonkers, you got Sandwiches. Sandwiches probably is the most just radical song I've ever heard. Um, and I loved it. I loved every part of it. Um, yeah, that was his very first album. And then top two. Top two is why I think Tyler the Creator is more of an icon nowadays and has separated himself. Number two, Flower Boy. I remember when this album came out, I was very impressed. I remember listening, and when someone would commentate about Tyler, I was like, "Yo, have you listened to this album? He is not the old Tyler." Like that's what I loved about it because he grew up. He grew up from that stabbing people vibe. Like it was the polar opposite. And I love that. And I think that's what makes artists iconic nowadays. Like it reminded me of like 21 Savage, of how 21 Savage kind of grew up and like separated himself from the whole SoundCloud vibe of him. And so you can always admire that about artists. Flower Boy, you got every song on his album is liked on my Spotify. I mean, my favorite, you got 911, I Ain't Got Time, Boredom, Pothole, Who Dat Boy, See You Again, Sometimes. A lot of great tracks on this. I think it was a top five album for me in 2017. I think so. Um, and then number one album for sure, Igor. Very strange. This album definitely put him in even a more atmosphere of just great, very great. Um, he released all this in one album. I think he did little spurts here and there of teasing it on YouTube, but this great album. It was such a cohesive album. It's it's an album where you can easily just play it back and forth. It was 12 tracks. It was not that long. I miss these days, man. I miss albums. Um, I miss albums. I mean, New Magic One, A Boy Is a Gun, What's Good, Earthquake, I think, um, Gone, Gone. Just so much to be said. Um, I loved it. I loved this album. Um, it was my I think my second favorite album of 2019. My top was the Chris Brown album, which I mean you can't beat that one. Um, yeah, very definitely with Tyler's career, Flower Boy and Igor have defined or has made him iconic. He jumped from the cool, um, evil weirdo to like, oh wow, he's a professional, and I think he got a lot more respect that way. I mean, that's just how people grow up. You grow up, and you make better music. That's why artists can never make the same music. And I don't want artists to make the same music over and over again. And so this is a classic example of Tyler's self awareness. All right, what we got? All right, man. I think that's about it. Bit about it of Tyler the Creator. Call Me If You Can. I think has potential to be a second or third best album of all time for me and for Tyler. Um, Potential. It's going to be hard to beat Igor. It is going to be hard. Um, I heard someone say, I don't know, I've been kind of on Tyler's Reddit and just seeing a lot of articles about, or Tyler the Creator has said in the past that he wants to release a whole just rap album, since 2015, like after Cherry Bomb, just like a more professional just rap album. And I don't know how that would happen. I don't. That's very difficult to do. I mean, he's basically done it. Um, but would he want to do it? Is there like a creative, authentic way to do it? Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. It's gonna be very strange, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Very excited. Um, we'll get with that. What else?